Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a new episode of our live program, The Daily Debate. I'm Dr. Yasmin Bakir. I'll be joining you in for the next hour, where we are going to be discussing a number of issues. But of course, when the world is changing, or as the world seems to be changing every day, it's so very vital every now and then to take a step back and look at the picture and see what changes took place. And today we're going to be talking about the US-EU relations now in this new era of Donald Trump's administration. What is expected out of his relations with the EU? What are the current status? Of course, there have been a lot of talks throughout the media and from Trump himself regarding the US relations with the EU today, where, of course, they were later on clarified by Mike Pence, and during the conference that took place in Germany. We have a lot to talk about concerning that part. We also are going to be discussing in our second segment the EU-Egyptian relations and where they lie today, all the economic and political developments that are taking place in Egypt, how Egypt's been reflecting its foreign policy as well recently, particularly when it comes to its relationship with the European Union. Before that, allow us to take a quick look at the top stories that have been heading today in Egypt. And we start off with the story of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, who received today the heads of the Africa's Supreme Constitutional Courts. This is the first conference for the heads of Africa's Supreme Constitutional Courts to be held in Egypt, to support the role of the judiciary in the African societies, and also to support the cooperation and exchange of experiences between the African Supreme Courts in the field of constitutional judiciary. President al-Sisi did assure that Egypt welcomes hosting the conference of the heads of Africa's Supreme Constitutional Courts annually. And this meeting had focused actually on enhancing the joint work among the African countries in collaboration with the Egyptian Partnership Agency for Development. We are going to have joining us over the phone Dr. Salah Abdallah, Professor of Political Relations. Thank you very much for joining us, Doctor.
Good evening.
Good evening, Doctor. We do want to know from you, of course, about the importance and the significance of holding such a crucial meeting for the first time in Egypt.
Can you please raise the voice, because I don't hear it?
Okay, I apologize for the technical difficulties. What I was asking you, Doctor, is how do you view the importance and significance of President al-Sisi's meeting today with the heads of Africa's Supreme Constitutional Courts, the meeting that was held for the first time in Egypt?
Well, I think the meeting with the head of the constitutional courts in Africa is a very important meeting, because the Constitutional Court is considered one of the main signs of democracy in any country. Mm-hmm. And that's why supporting this court in Africa means supporting the democracy in Africa, the true democracy in Africa. Mm-hmm. Meeting with the president reflects his beliefs in true democracy in Egypt and in Africa, and is a good signal and a message to the African countries that Egypt is supporting the justice and the High Constitutional Court in all the African countries. Mm-hmm. And that Egypt is truly keen about democracy, our true democracy in Africa.
Yes, do you think, Doctor, that this conference, as it's been recalled, that it would be held annually, and if so, again, how beneficial would that be to Egypt?
The voice is not clear. I didn't hear the answer, the question.
Yes, I'm apologizing for the second time, Doctor, but I was asking finally here, if this, as it's been recalled, that this conference should be taking place annually in Egypt, then how beneficial, again, would that be to Egypt?
I don't hear the question. Sorry.
I'm really sorry, Dr. Salah Abdallah. We have serious technical issues with the telephone. Professor of Political Relations, thank you very much. Let's move to the second story. And tourists watched the solar illumination of King Ramses II at Aswan, Abu Simbel, and now the 3,200 years old solar alignment ceremony occurs twice a year to mark the anniversary of the pharaoh's birth and its throne. Now, the dozens of foreign tourists have gathered today at Aswan's Abu Simbel temple, and they have been gathering to watch this bi-yearly phenomenon of the sun illuminating the temple of King Ramses II. And Egypt's most powerful pharaohs, of course, Ramses II had the temple carved into a sandstorm mountain on the banks of the Nile to align with the sun twice a year, on February 21st in particular, and on October again, the 21st as well. Now, the South Sinai's governor had received an Italian delegation from the Italian-Egyptian Friendship Council, which is marking an exclusive visit to the touristic city of Sharm el-Sheikh. And what they did actually, apart from the sake of fostering the relations between Italy and Egypt, the delegation did indeed praise the security performances inside Sharm el-Sheikh's airport and the city. And they did say that this is indeed the most powerful security system that they have seen compared to some European countries. And of course, that is not just an honor, but another proof that Egypt is working very hard towards ensuring that it does align with international security precautions. So let's take a look at this report. And when we return back, we'll be discussing our main segment, the EU-US relationship. Where does it lie today, and how is it moving forward with its relationship with Egypt?
South Sinai governor received an Italian delegation from the Italian-Egyptian Friendship Council, which is making an exclusive visit to the touristic city of Sharm el-Sheikh for the sake of fostering bilateral relations between Egypt and Italy. The Italian delegation praised the security performance inside Sharm el-Sheikh airport and the city, saying that the security system is more powerful compared to that in some European countries. According to the newspaper, the Italian delegation's visit aims at exchanging investments and projects between Egypt and Italy that will improve companies' performance inside both countries. Moreover, the delegation signed a twinning agreement between the city of Sharm el-Sheikh and an Italian city for the sake of turning Sharm el-Sheikh into the first digital economy city in the Middle East. For his part, the South Sinai governor asserted on the importance of the return of Italian tourism to the city of Sharm el-Sheikh, asking the Italian delegation to transfer the positive stereotype have interacted with during the visit. It's worth mentioning that in October 2016, a bilateral protocol was signed between Egypt and Italy under the auspices of the Italian Cooperation Council. The protocol included the establishment of universities, exchange students, teaching staff, and common research projects. The visit of the Italian delegation to Sharm el-Sheikh came following a tour it concluded in Egypt's capital, Cairo, where they met with the Higher Education Minister to discuss the possibility of establishing the Italian University in Egypt. They also discussed the establishment of a branch to the university in southern Sinai Governorate. Moreover, the delegation suggested to the Egyptian Electricity Minister the establishment of a center to develop the digital work in the electronic outlets used in the fields of energy and tourism.